The Edmonton Oilers have been busy making yet another trade here today. This time we have a trade between the Oilers and the Chicago Blackhawks. I'll give you all the details and my thoughts coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top, the Edmonton Oilers have been a very busy team today. We reported earlier they had made a trade with the Florida Panthers, acquiring defenseman Alex Petrovic in exchange for defenseman Chris Weidman and a third-round pick. The Oilers have now completed a deal with the Chicago Blackhawks, sending forward Drake Caggiula as well as defenseman Jason Garrison over to the Blackhawks in return for defenseman Brandon Manning and prospect Robin Norrell. So obviously the Oilers have been a very busy team. This shows a team who's very desperate to make changes quickly as possible here, trying to salvage their season. Now, as we know, the Oilers had a much slower than expected start. They kind of got out of the gate slow. They ended up firing their coach. Replace him with Ken Hitchcock. Things really turned around quite quickly. They got on a pretty good run when Hitchcock was first behind the bench, but things have not been gone overly well here as of late. So the second trade of the day, this tells me that Peter Chiarelli is trying everything he can, not only to get this team on track, but to save his job as well. Drake Caggiula was one of the top free agents out of the college system when he was signed 3 seasons ago. This is his third year with the Edmonton Oilers. Unfortunately for Drake Caggiula, he hasn't really realized his full potential. So I do like this deal for Chicago, though, to be honest. We've seen a lot of other forwards leave the Oilers organization and go on to greener pastures with other teams and develop into some pretty decent players. This very well might be one of those deals, unfortunately, for Edmonton, as Chicago gets another young forward to add to their group that they've obviously been changing that dynamic within the forward group here lately. They've picked up some other pieces. And Caggiula just might very well fit in and find his game and become the player that many expected him to be when he was first signed out of the NCAA. Now, in the first season with the Oilers, he had 7 goals. He improved to 13 goals the second year. So far this year, he's had 7 goals already. He's missed a few games due to injury. But if he were to play a full season based on what he's on pace for, he is on pace for approximately a 20-goal season. But as of right now, he wouldn't be on pace to play 82 games. So probably put him somewhere between 15 to 20. So he's still improving. So I do think with Caggiula, there's still some unrealized potential that hasn't been seen as of yet. So we'll see if Chicago can help bring that out in him. Obviously, Jason Garrison was a kind of a spare part for them. Brought into training camp on a professional tryout, signed to a 1-year contract, the league minimum kind of deal. Garrison wasn't getting a ton of playing time, so really that's not a big loss for the Oilers at all. They bring in Brandon Manning from the Chicago Blackhawks. This is his first year over in Chicago. Before that, he'd been in the Flyers organization for 5 or 6 years. Manning was also an undrafted player like Caggiula. He spent his junior career playing in the Western Hockey, the WHL, was signed by the Flyers, had first couple of years. He was kind of up and down, played a few games, but the last 3 years he was in Philly. He was a regular in that lineup, playing 60-plus games every year. This was his first year in Chicago. Now, of course, he's pretty much a third-pair defenseman at the NHL level, but really, based on what's out there and what they had to pay, he's the decent third-pair guy, but the Oilers are clearly hard up for defensemen right now. Obviously, they've had Sekera out for a long period of time. Clefbaum was out. Russell's out. So I understand they're a team who's not only trying to improve, but they desperately need help on that back end, on that blue line. But I'm not sure I like this deal for the Oilers, to be completely honest here. I'm not sure that Brandon Manning's really the answer, is really going to be able to help a whole lot on that back end, and they're giving up, Drake Caggiula, who very well, like I said, could find his game with Chicago. In a way, I kind of do like this deal for both sides. I understand from the Oilers' perspective that they really need a blue liner, and I understand that they are not completely satisfied with the development of Caggiula. At the same time, I do think it's possible Caggiula could find his game with Chicago, so at the same time, like I said, I can like this deal for both sides fairly even. So if you think about what the Oilers have done here today, so all in all here, they bring in Brandon Manning, and they also brought in Alex Petrovic earlier. And going out the door is Drake Caggiula, Jason Garrison, Chris Weidman, and a third-round pick. So overall, I must say the Oilers didn't do too bad today, but obviously a lot of teams know that the Oilers are desperate for defensemen, so they're certainly not going to give them any kind of sweet deals. That is for certain. Now, there was some speculation as well that Peter Chiarelli and these deals that he's made today was really trying to include Ryan Spooner. It doesn't look like they really want to hang on to him either. But unfortunately, that wasn't able to take place. So we'll see here. Wouldn't be surprised to see him moved here in the short term. I would not be surprised to see Chiarelli pull off some other smaller types of deals here as well over the next little while. Obviously, he's not going to be staying pat here. Like I said, not only is he trying to get the team back on track, but he's doing everything he can to show ownership that he's trying to right the ship here and obviously keep his job security too. Obviously, I'm sure the Oilers ownership is not happy with where things are at. When you get guys like McDavid and Draisaitl in your lineup, they do expect more, but you need to build a better supporting cast around them to be able to make that happen, obviously. So again, as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this trade between the Edmonton Oilers and the Chicago Blackhawks. Let me know who you think wins this trade in the comments, and we'll continue the conversation. If you're new to the channel here, hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams. There's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up before you go. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.